Hello, everyone, and a truly heartfelt welcome to the Best English Podcast, the place dedicated not just to mastering the English language, but to empowering you to build a richer, more connected life for yourself, one confident step at a time, day by day. I'm Sophia, your host, and I am absolutely overflowing with excitement to share something truly transformative with you today. Before we plunge into these game-changing strategies, please take just a moment to hit that subscribe button. Your subscription is invaluable. It helps us tremendously to reach more dedicated learners like you and ensures you never miss out on any of our future episodes packed with indispensable English lessons. And if you find this comprehensive guide genuinely helpful, a quick like and a share with someone else who's also on their English learning journey would mean the absolute world to us. For so many of you, the dream of achieving true fluency in English feels tantalizingly close. Yet there's often one formidable obstacle that stubbornly stands in the way: listening comprehension. You might find yourself in conversations, smiling and nodding along, but deep down, a frustrating feeling persists. You've missed crucial details, perhaps even the entire essence of what was said. Or maybe you switch on an English movie, eager to follow the story, or a captivating documentary, only to feel quickly overwhelmed, the dialogue blurring into a rapid, indecipherable stream that leaves you feeling defeated. It's that moment when you realize you can read and write English quite well, but understanding native speakers at their natural speed still feels like trying to catch water with your bare hands. This widespread feeling of being lost in translation during spoken English is incredibly common, and it's a frustration I hear articulated by dedicated learners from every corner of the globe, almost every single day. It can be profoundly disheartening, making the grand vision of fluency seem like a distant, unattainable mirage. But what if I could offer you a different perspective? A powerful set of strategies that could absolutely transform your listening abilities. What if I told you that truly understanding fast English, grasping every subtle nuance, and even enjoying the entire process is entirely within your grasp? That, my dear listeners, is precisely the promise of today's monumental episode. We're not here to offer a single quick tip or a temporary fix. Instead, we're taking an unprecedented deep dive into our highly acclaimed listener favorite series, 5 Steps to Improve Your English Listening. And for this special broadcast, we are meticulously consolidating all 5 crucial strategies into one comprehensive, power-packed, single guide. Think of this as your definitive blueprint, your meticulously crafted roadmap, specifically designed to equip you with every essential technique, every invaluable insight you need to truly unlock and profoundly supercharge your English listening skills, leading you directly to a new level of unwavering confidence and effortless fluidity. So, what exactly are these 5 powerful steps? Step 1 is all about making it enjoyable by focusing on content you genuinely love, because enjoyment is the engine of consistent learning. Then, in Step 2, we'll teach you to differentiate between passive and active listening, understanding when to simply absorb and when to intensely focus for maximum comprehension. Next, step 3 reveals the immense power of listening repeatedly and strategically using transcripts to decode every sound and solidify new vocabulary. Following that, step 4 will train your ear to the very music of English, how to master intonation, word and sentence stress, and the often tricky world of connected speech. And finally, step 5 brings it all together by showing you how to integrate your listening with active speaking and effective note-taking, transforming what you hear into what you can confidently say and powerfully remember. We will systematically dissect the most common barriers to listening comprehension, offer practical, actionable solutions you can implement immediately and empower you to perceive English, not just as a chaotic rush of sound, but as clear, understandable, and deeply meaningful communication. We'll start with the foundational elements and build progressively, ensuring that by the end of this episode, you possess a solid, actionable understanding of how to approach and ultimately conquer every challenging aspect of English listening. So, wherever you are listening from, whether you're navigating your daily commute, pushing your limits during a workout, tending to household tasks, or simply taking a quiet moment for personal growth, I wholeheartedly invite you to get comfortable, perhaps grab a notebook and a pen to jot down transformative insights, and let's embark on this truly remarkable and empowering journey together, your definitive path to mastering English listening begins right now. Step 1, make it enjoyable. Listen to content you love. This seemingly simple idea is, in fact, one of the most powerful keys to consistent, effective, and truly joyful English listening. Let's dive in. The problem with should listening. Many English learners often fall into the trap of what I call should listening. This means they consume content because they feel they should, not because they genuinely enjoy it. Maybe it's news reports that just bore them, or academic lectures that are far too difficult and cause frustration. When listening feels like a forced duty, motivation quickly disappears. Your brain naturally switches off. Consistency becomes almost impossible, and progress ultimately stagnates. Our human brains are fundamentally wired to learn best when they're engaged, when they're curious, and crucially, when they're enjoying themselves. We absolutely need to tap into that natural power for our English listening practice. The power of love it listening. The core of step 1 is elegantly simple. Find English content that you genuinely love. I mean content that you would actively seek out and consume, even if it wasn't in English, simply because the topic, the story, or the format truly excites you. Why is this approach so incredibly powerful? Intrinsic motivation. When you love what you're doing, you don't need external pushing. You want to listen, which effortlessly builds that all-important consistency. Increased engagement. Your brain is naturally far more alert and receptive, leading to much better absorption of new vocabulary, grammar, and even subtle pronunciation. Contextual learning. You likely already possess some background knowledge in topics you're passionate about. This existing context acts as a powerful guide, helping you understand new words and complex ideas within a familiar framework. Authentic language. You'll be exposed to truly natural, real-world English, including everyday idioms, common slang, and conversational nuances that textbooks often miss. Variety and discovery. Your diverse interests will naturally lead you to explore a wide range of English accents, various speaking styles, and a broad array of vocabulary, all without it feeling like a deliberate study plan. How to find your Love It content. Start by reflecting on your own hobbies and passions. What kind of media do you already consume in your native language? Do you absolutely love cooking? Then find English cooking shows, food blogs, or culinary podcasts. Are you into gaming? Watch English game streams, reviews, or esports commentary. Are you fascinated by science? Listen to English science documentaries, educational YouTube channels, or scientific podcasts. Don't be afraid to experiment. The internet is a vast treasure trove. Use platforms like YouTube, Spotify, Netflix, and TED Talks. Simply search for your interests in English and see what amazing content comes up. Navigating levels. Don't fear what you don't understand. A very common concern when you embrace Love It listening is the thought, what if the content I love is too difficult for my current English level? Here's how to approach this with a positive mindset. Embrace imperfect understanding. It is completely okay. If you don't understand 100% of the content initially, in fact, for authentic native level material, you probably shouldn't. The primary goal here is exposure and engagement. Your brain is still absorbing patterns, rhythms, and natural language use, even if it's not decoding every single word. Start with visuals, if the audio feels too challenging. Begin with English media that offers strong visual cues. Movies, TV shows, and YouTube videos are excellent for this. The visuals provide immense context, helping you infer meaning. Even when your auditory comprehension is limited, use English subtitles strategically. As a helpful bridge, consider using English subtitles, and crucially, never your native language subtitles. Try to listen first, using the subtitles as a backup to confirm or clarify what you heard. The aim is to gradually reduce your reliance on them as your listening improves. Revisit content. As your English skills develop, make a point of going back and re-listening to content that was once very difficult. You'll be genuinely amazed at how much more you understand, which is an incredibly powerful motivator. Mix levels. You don't have to stick to just one level. Enjoy challenging content you love, but also integrate easier materials for more intense, active study sessions. The key message here is clear. Don't let perfection be the enemy of progress. Consistent, enjoyable exposure is paramount and will lead to significant long-term improvement. Integrating Love It, listening into your daily life. The true beauty of Love It listening is how effortlessly it can be woven into your existing daily routine, transforming otherwise mundane moments into valuable and enjoyable English practice. This helps to seamlessly build an English-rich environment around you. Consider how you can integrate English into activities you already do. During your commute, instead of listening to music or news in your native language, put on your favorite English podcast or an English audiobook. While working out, play an energetic English music playlist or listen to a motivational speech in English. While cooking or cleaning, have an English cooking show, a documentary, or a lighthearted English talk show playing in the background. Even if you're not actively focusing, your ears are still exposed to the sounds and rhythm of the language. Before bed, listen to a calming English podcast or a chapter of an English audiobook. This gentle exposure can even aid in passive absorption. The idea is to intentionally create an English-rich environment that feels natural and enjoyable. This consistent, low-stress exposure builds comfort and familiarity with the language, making it a natural part of your life, not just something confined to a classroom. The unseen benefits of enjoyable listening. Beyond the direct improvement in your listening comprehension, consistently engaging with English content that you genuinely love offers a cascade of other incredible and often unseen benefits that profoundly impact your entire language learning journey. Motivation and sustainability. This is, without a doubt, the most significant benefit. If you enjoy the process, you will stick with it. Learning a language is a marathon, not a sprint, and enjoyment is your primary fuel for sustained effort. Cultural immersion. By consuming authentic content, you gain invaluable insights into the diverse cultures, humor, and perspectives of English speakers from various backgrounds, enriching your overall language learning experience. Natural vocabulary acquisition. You'll encounter new words and phrases repeatedly in natural, meaningful contexts. This is far more effective for long-term retention than simply memorizing isolated word lists. Improved pronunciation, subconsciously. As you consistently listen to native speakers, your brain begins to subconsciously pick up on their natural rhythms, stress patterns, and intonation. This subtle absorption naturally influences your own pronunciation, over time making your spoken English sound more natural and fluent. Reduced learning anxiety. When the learning process feels pleasurable and engaging, the inherent pressure and stress often associated with language acquisition dramatically decrease. You become more relaxed, more open to making mistakes, which are vital for learning, and more receptive to new information. Embracing enjoyable listening is not just a pleasant addition to your study routine. It is a fundamental shift that transforms your entire relationship with English, making it a source of genuine joy and sustained progress. Step 2. Differentiate between passive and active listening. Understanding this crucial distinction and knowing precisely when and how to use each mode will profoundly enhance your comprehension and accelerate your fluency. Let's dive in. Understanding passive listening, the gentle soak for familiarity. Let's begin by clearly defining what we mean by passive listening. This essentially occurs when English sounds are present within your immediate environment, but your primary attention and cognitive focus are directed towards another activity. Your brain isn't deliberately trying to process every word or meticulously understand every detail. Think about common scenarios where passive listening naturally occurs. You might have English music playing softly while you're working out, or a podcast on in the background while you cook dinner. You could be listening to an English news channel or a talk show while simultaneously scrolling through social media or reading a book in your native language. Perhaps you're even fortunate enough to be residing in an English-speaking country where the constant murmur of conversations just becomes part of the everyday background noise around you. In all these scenarios, your ears are undeniably hearing English, but your brain isn't necessarily actively engaging in a deep, analytical way. You might catch a familiar phrase or a distinct word here and there, but you're not trying to understand everything. So, is passive listening truly useful? Absolutely, yes. It offers several distinct and important benefits that lay a foundational layer for more intensive learning. Cultivates familiarity with sounds and rhythm. Passive listening is excellent for helping your ears gradually become accustomed to the natural pace, intonation, and flow of English. Your brain gently soaks in the language, making it feel less foreign over time. Facilitates subconscious absorption. Even without active focus, your brain subtly picks up on common collocations, frequently used phrases, and grammatical structures. It's like learning song lyrics just by hearing them often. Reduces language anxiety. It provides a wonderfully low-pressure way to consistently expose yourself to English without the immediate stress of needing to understand everything. Creates an immersion environment. If you don't live in an English-speaking country, passive listening helps create that constant English presence around you. Passive listening is wonderful for broad exposure, familiarity, and subconscious absorption. It's the essential background hum that prepares your brain for deeper engagement. However, to truly push your comprehension forward, you need to integrate another, more powerful tool: active listening. Embracing active listening, the focused practice for breakthroughs. Now, let's pivot to active listening. This is fundamentally different because it's where your full attention, deliberate intention, and sustained cognitive effort are acutely directed towards understanding the English audio. You are not merely hearing the words. You are actively engaging your brain to meticulously process meaning, follow arguments, identify specific details, and logically connect ideas. This focused effort is what drives genuine breakthroughs. What exactly does active listening involve in practice? Setting a clear, specific goal. Before you even press play, ask yourself, what precisely do I want to get out of this listening session? Having a clear objective powerfully directs your attention. Do you aim to understand the main idea, identify concrete facts, or grasp the speaker's core opinion? A goal provides your session with a clear purpose. Maintaining focused and undivided attention. This is absolutely critical. Minimize all possible distractions, turn off notifications, close unnecessary tabs, and find a quiet space. Even a brief 5 to 10 minute session of truly focused active listening is far more effective than an hour of distracted passive listening. Actively engaging your brain through specific techniques. Predicting before listening. Try to predict what the content might be about from clues like the title. This primes your brain. Identifying keywords. Consciously pick out the most important words that carry the main meaning. Nouns, main verbs, adjectives. Inferring meaning from context. When you hear a new word, try to guess its meaning based on the surrounding words and the overall conversation. Connecting ideas. Actively try to understand how different sentences or arguments link together, e.g., cause and effect, comparisons. Visualizing. If the audio describes a scene, try to create mental images. This helps anchor the information. Checking for understanding, the feedback loop. This is where the active truly comes in. After a short segment, pause the audio. Can you summarize what you just heard in your own words? Can you answer specific questions about the content? This immediate self-assessment helps identify comprehension gaps and guides whether you need to re-listen. Active listening is about purposeful engagement, sustained focused attention, and deliberate cognitive processing. It is the powerful engine that directly drives significant improvement in your comprehension. The synergy, how passive and active listening work together now. The most effective strategy for language learning is not to view passive and active listening as mutually exclusive choices. Instead, the most powerful approach is to strategically use both in synergy. They are complementary tools that enhance each other beautifully. Passive listening is your general conditioning. It builds familiarity and stamina. Active listening is your targeted drills. It sharpens specific skills and pushes your comprehension forward. Here's how to effectively integrate them into your routine. Consistent daily immersion, passive. Intentionally integrate English audio into parts of your day where deep, undivided focus isn't required, e.g., commutes, chores. This keeps your ears consistently exposed to the language. Dedicated shorter study sessions, active. Set aside specific, protected blocks of time, even as little as 10 to 20 minutes, where you commit to sitting down, minimizing all distractions, and actively listening to new content with a very clear, defined goal in mind. This is your dedicated growth time. The fundamental insight here is to always be conscious of what kind of listening you are engaging in at any given moment, and to be clear about its specific purpose. Do not make the mistake of equating hours of passive background noise with true active study time. Both are profoundly valuable, but they serve different, complementary goals. Practical exercises for sharpening your active listening. Here are some highly effective, targeted exercises you can begin incorporating today. The main idea. Challenge. Listen to a 1 to 3 minute clip once, then pause and summarize its main idea in 1 to 2 sentences, aloud or written. This trains your brain to extract the core message. The keyword hunter game. Before listening, predict 3 to 5 keywords related to the topic. As you listen, mark every time you hear them, then review their context. This trains your brain to filter and focus. The question and answer. Drill. Listen to an interview segment. Pause after an answer. Then try to formulate the question that was asked and summarize the answer. Excellent for understanding conversational flow. The gap fill exercise. With transcript, print a transcript. Delete every 5th or 10th word, then listen to the audio and fill in the blanks. Highly effective for detailed listening. The correction exercise with transcript. Listen to a short clip. Try to repeat it, mimicking intonation and rhythm. Then compare to the transcript to spot differences. This refines your ear for phonetic detail. Remember to keep these sessions relatively short at first. Start with 5 to 10 minutes, then gradually increase. Quality of focus matters far more than quantity of time. Why active listening is your superpower for speaking too. It might seem counterintuitive, but active listening is an absolutely critical and immensely powerful tool for dramatically improving your speaking skills as well. The two skills are deeply interconnected and mutually reinforcing. Refines your pronunciation. You notice how native speakers pronounce words, connect them, and use stress, allowing you to adjust your own speech. Acquires vocabulary in context. You learn new words and phrases used naturally in sentences, building a mental library for your own speaking. Internalizes natural sentence structure. You subconsciously absorb native sentence patterns, making it easier to form grammatically correct and natural-sounding sentences. Develops natural flow and intonation. By paying attention to the music of English, you learn to sound more natural and fluent when you speak. Enhances understanding of social cues. You pick up on pauses, tone changes, and nonverbal cues, improving your appropriate responses in conversations. The more acutely and consistently you listen, the better equipped you become to express yourself clearly, naturally, and confidently in English. It's a powerful, self-reinforcing feedback loop. Step 3. The power of repetition and the strategic use of transcripts. This step is a true game changer, transforming fleeting moments of understanding into solid, lasting knowledge. Let's dive in. The magic of repetition, hearing more. Each time when learning a new language, listening to something just once is rarely enough. Think about it, even in your native language. If you hear something new or complex, you often need to hear it a few times to fully grasp it, right? This is even more true for English learners. The magic of repetition lies in its ability to reveal new layers of meaning and detail with each successive listen. Here's why repeated listening is so powerful. First, listen. The gist, the very first time. You listen to English audio. Your brain is working incredibly hard just to get the main idea or the overall context. It's trying to decode unfamiliar words, accents, and connected speech. Because of this high cognitive load, you're likely to miss many details. You're simply trying to get the big picture. Second, listen. Filling in gaps. When you listen a second time, your brain already has a basic framework of the content. This familiarity frees up mental resources. Now, you can start to fill in the gaps. You might catch words you completely missed before. Understand a phrase that was fuzzy. Or notice the speaker's tone more clearly. It's like rewatching a movie. You often pick up on subtle clues or background details you didn't see the first time. Third and subsequent. Listens, deeper understanding and nuance. By the third, fourth, or even fifth listen, you move beyond just understanding. Now, you can focus on nuances, pronunciation, how are specific words pronounced? How do sounds link together? Connected speech. Intonation and stress. Where does the speaker place emphasis? How does their voice rise and fall to convey emotion or certainty? Vocabulary in context. You start to understand the precise meaning of new words based on how they're used in that specific sentence and situation. Grammar. You subconsciously absorb the natural sentence structures. Each listen gradually clears a bit more of the fog from the English audio, revealing more intricate details. The transcript, your decoding tool. While repetition is powerful alone, its effectiveness is multiplied exponentially when combined with transcripts. A transcript is simply the written text of the audio you're listening to. Think of it as a key that unlocks the deepest secrets of the spoken word. Why are transcripts so vital for improving listening? Connects sound to spelling. English spelling doesn't always directly match pronunciation. Transcripts bridge this gap, helping your brain build a stronger connection between what you hear and what you see. This is crucial for recognizing words accurately. Unveils connected speech. This is one of the biggest challenges for English learners. Native speakers link words together, sounds merge, disappear, or change. For example, "What are you doing?" often sounds like "what you doing." When you read the transcript while listening, you can see exactly how these transformations occur, making them recognizable in natural speech. Identifies unfamiliar vocabulary. When you hear a new word, it can be hard to even know how to spell it, to look it up. With a transcript, the word is right there. You can easily highlight it, look up its meaning, and see it in its original context, making vocabulary acquisition much more efficient. Confirms comprehension. Sometimes you think you understood something, but the transcript reveals you misheard. It provides immediate feedback, helping you correct misunderstandings and confirming correct guesses, boosting your confidence. Focuses on problem areas. If a section is consistently difficult for you, the transcript allows you to pinpoint the exact words, phrases, or speech patterns causing trouble, enabling targeted practice. The ultimate strategy, combining repetition and transcripts, the three-step listening dance. This is a highly effective, structured way to practice listening, and I call it the three-step listening dance. Step 1 of the dance. The initial listen, no transcript, main idea focus. Goal: understand the main idea. How? Choose a short audio clip, 1 to 5 minutes. Listen one time without the transcript. Action: pause and try to summarize the main idea in a sentence or two, aloud or by jotting it down. Step 2 of the dance. The deep dive with transcript detail focus. Goal: understand as much detail as possible. Connecting sounds to written words. How? Listen to the same audio clip again, this time with the transcript in front of you. Action: follow along, highlight unfamiliar words or phrases, paying attention to how sounds connect or change. Pause frequently to look up words or reread. Step 3 of the dance. The reinforcement listen, no transcript, fluency focus. Goal: reinforce your understanding and experience the audio more fluently. How? Listen to the same audio clip one more time without the transcript. Action: notice how much clearer it sounds now that you've analyzed it. Try to hear the natural flow you've identified. This three-step listening dance systematically builds your understanding from general comprehension to specific detail, solidifying it through repeated exposure. Making it a habit, consistency is key. The key to unlocking the full power of repetition and transcripts is consistency. Even 10 to 15 minutes of focused practice using the three-step listening dance on a short piece of audio can yield incredible results over time. Find your ideal time. When are you most focused and alert? Start small. If a 5-minute clip feels overwhelming, begin with 1 to 2 minutes. Use the content you love. This practice becomes much easier when you're genuinely interested in the material. Remember step 1. Don't chase perfection. The goal is to improve your ability to understand over time, not to grasp 100% immediately. Step 4. Focus on key elements: intonation, stress, and connected speech. This is where we go beyond individual words and start to hear the music of English, understanding how sounds change, blend, and carry meaning. Are you ready to truly fine-tune your ear? Let's begin. Understanding the music of English. Why it matters. You know, when you first start learning English, you often focus on individual words. You might think, if I know all the words, I'll understand everything. But then, you listen to native speakers, and it feels like they're speaking incredibly fast, or mumbling, or that the words just blend into one another. It's frustrating, right? That's because spoken English isn't just a string of separate words. It has its own rhythm, its own melody, and its own special connections that make it sound natural. If you only listen for individual words, you'll miss a huge part of the message. This music of English is made up of 3 key elements: intonation, stress, and connected speech. Learning to recognize these elements will not only dramatically improve your listening comprehension, but also make your own spoken English sound much more natural and fluent. It's a two-way street. Element 1. Intonation, the melody of meaning. Let's start with intonation. Think of intonation as the melody of speech, the rise and fall of your voice as you speak. It's like the notes in a song. This melody doesn't just make speech sound pleasant, it carries crucial meaning. Here's why intonation is vital for listening. Questions versus statements. Rising intonation, your voice goes up at the end, often signals a yes-no question. For example, you're happy. Your voice goes up on happy. This tells the listener you're asking for confirmation. Falling intonation, your voice goes down at the end, typically indicates a statement or a WH question: who, what, where, when, why. For example, you're happy. Your voice goes down on happy. Or, where are you going? Voice falls at the end. Listening for this helps you quickly distinguish between someone asking for information and someone providing it. Emotion and attitude, intonation conveys a speaker's feelings, even if the words are the same. Say, "Oh, really?" with rising intonation, and it sounds genuinely curious. Say, "Oh, really?" with falling intonation and a slower pace, and it sounds sarcastic or annoyed. A sudden drop in pitch might show seriousness or finality. A higher pitch might show excitement or surprise. Listening to pick up on these subtle shifts helps you understand the speaker's intent beyond just the literal words. Element 2. Stress, the strong beats of speech. Next, let's talk about stress. In English, not all words or syllables are pronounced with the same force. Some are pushed out more strongly than others. This is called stress. There are 2 main types of stress to listen for. Word. Stress in words. With more than one syllable, usually one syllable, is pronounced more strongly or clearly than the others. For example, comfortable, not comfortable. Photograph, not photograph. I am portant, not I am portant. When you hear words, listening for the stressed syllable helps you recognize the word more easily, even if the surrounding sounds are weak. Sentence stress or content word stress. In a sentence, native speakers don't stress every single word equally. We typically stress the content words, nouns, main verbs, adjectives, adverbs, because these words carry the most meaning. Function words, prepositions, articles, conjunctions, auxiliary verbs are usually reduced and spoken quickly. Listen to the sentence. I went to the store to buy some milk. The words went, store, and milk are stressed. The other words, I, to, the, to, some, are quickly, lightly pronounced. If you only listen for the stressed words, you can often get the main idea of a sentence, even if you miss some of the function words. Why is listening for stress important? Clarity. It helps you identify the most important words in a sentence, guiding you to the core message. Word recognition. Knowing where the stress falls in a word helps you distinguish between similar sounding words or recognize words in fast speech. Pronunciation aid for your own speaking. Understanding stress patterns makes you sound more natural and easier to understand. Element 3. Connected speech, where words blend. This is perhaps the biggest challenge for many English learners, but also one of the most rewarding to master connected speech. This is what happens when native speakers link words together and sounds change, disappear, or add new sounds at the boundaries of words. It makes spoken English flow naturally, but it can make it sound incredibly fast and mushy to a learner's ear. Think about it. Do you say, I am going to, or I'm gonna? Do you say, did you, or did ya? Do you say, want to dot dot, or wanna? These are all examples of connected speech. Here are some common types to listen for. Linking, consonant plus vowel. When a word ends with a consonant sound and the next word starts with a vowel sound, they often link together smoothly. Pick up sounds like peek up an apple. Sounds like an apple turn on, sounds like turn on. You're not hearing two separate words. You're hearing one continuous sound. Elision, sounds disappearing. Sometimes a sound disappears completely, usually a T or D sound, in the middle of a word or sentence. He must be might sound like he must be. Next day might sound like next day. Assimilation, sounds changing. When one sound influences a neighboring sound, causing it to change. Would you? Often sounds like would you. The D changes to a J sound because of the Y sound. Don't you? Often sounds like don't you. The T changes to a ch sound. Intrusion, sounds added. Sometimes a small R, W, or Y sound is added between words to link them smoothly, especially when two vowel sounds meet. Law and order might sound like law are and order go out, might sound like go out. Why is listening for connected speech important? Understanding fast speech. This is the primary reason. If you don't recognize connected speech, fast native English will always sound like gibberish. Once you train your ear, you start to hear distinct patterns within the flow. Naturalness. It helps you understand how real English is spoken, not just how it's written in a dictionary. Improved pronunciation, mimicking connected speech, makes your own spoken English sound incredibly natural and fluent. Putting it all together, the conscious ear. Mastering intonation, stress, and connected speech is about training your ear to be a conscious listener. It's about moving beyond just word recognition to understanding the entire soundscape of English. Here's how you can integrate these elements into your daily active listening practice. Choose content wisely. Pick content where speakers have relatively clear pronunciation but still speak at a natural pace. Podcasts, interviews, and some documentaries are great. Use transcripts, always. Transcripts are your best friend here. They are the map to the hidden treasures of connected speech. Break it down, don't try to analyze an entire episode at once. Pick short segments, a few sentences, a paragraph, or a 1 to 2 minute clip. Targeted listening. First listen, overall comprehension. Second listen with transcript. Actively look for examples of intonation changes, stressed words, and connected speech. Highlight them. Third listen with transcript and focus. Listen again to those specific spots where sounds changed or were stressed. Try to feel how the words blend. Fourth listen without transcript. Try to hear those very same changes and links. Now that you know, they are there. This process is like becoming a detective of sound. You're actively searching for clues in the way words are spoken, not just what words are spoken. Step 5. Integrate listening with speaking and note-taking. This is where you transform what you hear into what you can express and remember. Are you ready to truly bridge the gap between input and output? Let's dive in and complete your listening mastery. Why integration is the key to true fluency. Think about it. When babies learn their first language, they don't just listen, they listen. They try to imitate, they babble, they make mistakes, and they eventually start speaking. They're constantly integrating what they hear with what they try to say. For English learners, especially adults, it's easy to fall into the trap of just consuming content. You might listen for hours, but if you don't actively engage with that input, it can remain passive knowledge. To truly internalize the language, you need to connect your listening to your speaking and writing through note-taking. This active integration helps solidify vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation in your brain, turning receptive skills into productive ones. This step is about activating passive knowledge. You've understood it. Now can you use it? Building fluency and confidence. The more you try to use what you hear, the more comfortable you become. Improving retention. Active engagement makes information stick better. Bridging the gap, moving from comprehension to communication. Integrating listening with speaking from ear to mouth. This is where the magic really happens. For your conversational abilities, your ears are constantly feeding your brain information about how English is spoken naturally. Now, let's get your mouth involved. Here are highly effective ways to integrate listening with speaking. Shadowing, your ultimate tool. This is arguably the most powerful technique for linking listening and speaking. Shadowing means listening to a native speaker and speaking along with them, at the same time mimicking everything: their words, their pronunciation, their intonation, their stress, and especially their connected speech. Benefits: shadowing trains your mouth and brain to produce natural English sounds, rhythms, and intonation without thinking too hard. It improves your fluency, reduces hesitation, and strengthens your pronunciation muscles. It's like a dance. Your ear leads, and your mouth follows the steps. Listen and repeat. LNR, a simpler version of shadowing. Listen to a sentence or a short phrase. Pause the audio and then repeat it aloud, exactly as you heard it. Benefits: great for focusing on specific problematic sounds, intonation patterns, or new vocabulary in context. It builds memory and accuracy. Summarize aloud after listening to a segment of a podcast, news report, or a scene from a show. Pause the audio. Summarize what you heard aloud in your own words. Don't look at the transcript. Benefits: this forces you to activate your productive vocabulary and grammar. It helps you articulate ideas heard from others. You quickly discover where your speaking gaps are. Answer questions aloud. Listen to an interview or a Q&A segment. Pause after a question is asked. Answer the question aloud as if you were the person being interviewed. Benefits: excellent for practicing spontaneous speech and thinking on your feet, directly based on listening input. Integrating listening with note-taking. From ear to page, note-taking while listening, or immediately after, is another powerful way to integrate your listening input and deepen your comprehension and retention. It forces active processing and creates a tangible record of your learning. Here's how to integrate listening with note-taking. Keyword catching, active listening. When listening to a presentation, lecture, or a dense podcast, focus on jotting down keywords or main ideas as you hear them. Don't try to write every word. Focus on the most important nouns, verbs, and phrases that capture the essence of what's being said. Benefits: this keeps your brain actively engaged and helps you follow the structure of the talk. Post-listen summary, notes. Listen to a segment or an entire piece of audio without taking notes. Immediately after, pause the audio and write down a brief summary of what you remember. Use bullet points or short sentences. Benefits: this tests your overall comprehension and recall. It's a great way to identify what you truly understood. Vocabulary and phrase logging. As you listen, especially with transcripts, identify new or useful vocabulary words and phrases. Pause the audio or do this after your listening session. Write down the word or phrase, its definition, and crucially, the full sentence from the audio where you heard it used. Benefits: this helps you learn vocabulary in context, which is much more effective than memorizing isolated words. Mind mapping, diagramming. For more complex topics, try creating a mind map or simple diagram as you listen. Put the main topic in the center and branch out with subtopics, details, and examples as you hear them. Benefits: this is a visual way to organize information and see the connections between ideas. Sophia's Integrated Action Challenge for Step 5. All right, my amazing English learners, it's time for your action challenge. For Step 5, integrate listening with speaking and note-taking. This is where you put everything: you've learned into powerful practice. For the next week, I want you to dedicate some time each day, even 10 to 20 minutes is powerful, to this integrated approach. Choose a short English audio clip, 2 to 5 minutes. With a transcript, pick something you genuinely enjoy. Remember step 1. Listen to it a few times. For overall understanding, no transcript first, then with transcript. Now, choose one of these integration techniques and practice it with that clip. Speaking integration, shadowing, listen and speak along with the audio, mimicking sounds. Summarize aloud. After listening, pause and summarize the clip in your own words. Note-taking integration. Keyword catching. Listen and jot down only the most important keywords. Vocabulary log. Identify 3 to 5 new words or phrases. Write them down with their context sentence. The key is to actively produce something, either speaking or writing, based on what you've heard. This forces your brain to process the input on a much deeper level. Outro music fades in and out. And that brings us to the exciting conclusion of our comprehensive series on 5 steps to improve your English listening, here on the Best English Podcast. From making listening enjoyable to actively engaging with intonation and connected speech, and finally, to integrating it all with speaking and note-taking, you now have a complete toolkit for mastering English comprehension. Remember, learning English is a journey, not a destination. These 5 steps are not a one-time fix, but a continuous cycle of practice and improvement. Keep listening to what you love. Keep active. Use repetition and transcripts. Train your ear for the nuances, and always integrate your listening with speaking and note-taking. Do this consistently, and you will see truly remarkable progress. Thank you so much for joining me today. Your dedication to improving your English is truly inspiring, and I'm so grateful to be on this journey with you. If you found this episode helpful, please consider subscribing to the Best English Podcast so you don't miss our upcoming daily episodes and future special series. And if you have a moment, a quick rating or review really helps us reach more amazing learners like you. Keep practicing, keep pushing your boundaries, and I'll talk to you all again very soon, right here on the Best English Podcast. Take care.